Well, good afternoon, everybody, and it looks like I'm having problems again with my upload bandwidth. For some reason, I may appear jerky and all that. Hopefully you can hear me. So somebody tell me in the chat what's going on. What's going on? That'd be great. Thank you. Every time past few live streams, I've done it from this computer. It has been like this. I did a live stream over my cell phone yesterday from the Keto Summit, and it was fast and everything worked without a hitch. And damn, if I get home and I'm looking on my screen and it's got a little, like a cellular power indicator, and it's got 3 bars on it, and I've got 1 bar. I've got 1 bar. Now, what's happened is the last time I did this, it finally resolved itself, but I have been trying to troubleshoot it. And it's not easy to troubleshoot this kind of stuff. Not easy at all. I mean, I can watch on a monitor and see on my notebook here that the video is just locking up. So as long as you can hear me, we'll keep doing this. Hopefully it'll get better. I'm pretty sure, and I'll have to run some tests on it, that the upload bandwidth that I'm getting from Spectrum probably sucks, and there may be a problem, maybe something in a cable. Probably have to have the guy out here to try to fix it. I could try to route this whole thing through my cell phone. That would be interesting, and I'd probably lose you all in the process. But that little power bar keeps going between 1 bar and 2 bars, and I think when it hits the 2 bars, it actually catches up, and then it goes back to 1 bar again. So let's hope. Last time I rebooted my Spectrum router, and it didn't help anything. As far as my audio goes, the volume, I imagine, is probably okay. I'm sounding pretty clear, and the video is freezing up. Yeah, this is Charger Mopar. All of this is hardwired. I'm using no Wi-Fi whatsoever. This is hardwired, all 10 base T cabling. It is simply the upload going from my place to StreamYard, because I'm monitoring the actual StreamYard studio on a notebook computer, and I can see that it's freezing before it gets to StreamYard, which means it's just not uploading properly from my network, and there's nothing that I could do about it. I see here, Turamir says, I tried to buy you a coffee. I don't know if it worked. I didn't see it. I appreciate it. But no, it didn't work for some reason, but that's okay. I appreciate the thought. So I don't know what I'm going to do about this particular live stream. I could try to switch it over to Wi-Fi, but right now I'm hardwired, and I would have to take and switch this entire computer over to Wi-Fi and tether it from my phone. I don't know if it's worth it or not. Let's see if it gets better. Hopefully it'll get better. I'm not going to be doing any fancy video stuff anyway. The chat's coming through fine. It's just upload. I could open a browser over here just for fun. I'm sorry about this, guys. It's been a hectic couple days. I'm at home now, of course. A lot of people were leaving early because of that, storm, and we're starting to get weather and rain. And I said, nah, I'm just not going to sit around. There was not a lot of people at this year's conference. It was very disappointing. Got to tell you, it was very, very, very disappointing. about a half a dozen people actually recognized me. They were followers of mine, and I had some very nice conversations with them. That was nice. Meeting Kilts was a hoot. The guy is amazing. I got to tell you, I don't know how he accomplishes everything he does. He's a little dynamo, a real Renaissance man. His hobby, believe it or not, his hobby is pottery, of all things. And he had a table set up in the exhibit hall there where he sells some supplements, and he has books and hats and shirts and stuff like that. And he gave me this, a little cup. It's a little cup. He made it. He does this as a diversion. It's got his signature scratched on the bottom. Each one of these, and he had a bunch of them there. Each one of these is one of a kind. And this is the coolest little thing. So thank you, Kiltsy. Thank you so much. I thanked him at the time, but no, this is really cool. So I'll hold it right there so you can see it. Hopefully that frame will actually stay there for long enough to see it. And I thought I'd show you guys. Let's see. I'm just going to keep doing this, and hopefully it'll pick up a little bit. It doesn't appear to be, but I could try refreshing this window, but this seems to be working fine. On my screen, everything is fast and working great. It's when it leaves this computer, heads out to the world where something's broken, something isn't working right. And as soon as I'm done with this stream, the next call is going to be to Bright House. Oh, excuse me, it's not Bright House anymore, it's Spectrum. And tell them my upload speed. I'm going to run a couple of speed tests. I can do that now. Normally, I'm lucky if I get maybe 12 to 14 megabits upload. I get about 300 down, but upload is very slow on these cable type things. So let me do this. Indulge me if you would. Run speed test. Okay, I've got 200 and 2 1/4, 250 bouncing around, 225 download, upload. Not even 1 megabit. No wonder I'm having such trouble. Not even 1 megabit. Unbelievable. That explains it. That's the problem. I could try rebooting this thing again. And let me see just for... Nah, that wouldn't work. I was going to say, let me see if I could actually get into StreamYard from my cell phone over... Oh, okay, Touramir. I just got it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It worked. My phone went cha-ching, and there you are. So thank you so much. And Linda G also bought me a cup. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You're making me very happy in the midst of all of this ridiculous technical crap. But I'll tell you what I'm going to try to do and see if this will work. I got 2 bars of cellular strength right here where I'm sitting. So I am going to go into my cell phone. I am going to turn off the Wi-Fi. Hang on 1 second. Just bear with me. I'm so sorry about this. I see you're chatting among yourselves. Charger Moper says it's modem speed. The last time I did a speed test on this, it was fine. Today, it sucks. It may just need to be rebooted. I don't know. I tried that the last time. Didn't help it immediately, but it got better. But I can see there's a little meter that shows me the upload bandwidth, and it's on one little bar right at the bottom. So I'm going to turn off the Wi-Fi on my cell phone. After all, this is what I used to do. I used to troubleshoot electronics. I don't have 5G here. I have 4G service. I'm going to enable my mobile hotspot. No, I don't even need to do that because I don't want to connect to it. I just need this thing to be on. Oh, there it says 5G. Okay, I need to go into StreamYard here. This is going to be interesting, guys. I'm I need to go into StreamYard, and it's loading, yes, and I need to go and say enter my studio. So I'm going to be streaming like my own guest simultaneously from my cell phone and the studio, and I'll be in separate windows. It's got a very weak signal. It says 5G. There it is. Okay, old guy Mitch, enter studio. And I should pop up on the other screen. It says device not connected. Let me give it a chance to connect and see what happens. And let me close this one here. Okay. No, it's still not enough signal strength to connect. I can see the chat on it, but you could see the window there. And that's from my cell phone. Now, what I want to see. Oh, there we go. It's getting the audio. There you go. It's now. Come on. Turn off the mic on the cell phone. Turn off the mic on the cell phone. There we go. You don't. There we go. There we go. Now, am I still jumpy? Still jumpy. Yeah. That's not gonna work. Whoops. I think I ended the stream, guys. I give up. Okay, I didn't end the stream. I'm still here. Am I still here? Guys, can you still see me? Before I just end the stream and have to do what I did the last time. And make a whole new stream and do all that. Yep. No, you were Max Headroom in person. Yeah. Okay. Well, the reason that was so jumpy before was that the bandwidth on the cell phone is worse. The upload speed is slower over the cellular internet than my computer was. So it was. I was hoping it would be quick enough and fast enough that I could see the difference in the two, but it was worse than what I'm getting now. So I'm just going to open up a window on my computer here. God, do I still have anybody even watching this? Yeah, 68 people. You guys have a lot of patience. I have to get this fixed. I have to deal with Bright House. Excuse me. Spectrum. Or what I call them. Hold your ears, little kids. I call them rectum. Rectum internet. I wish we had fiber here, but we don't. We're stuck with the old cable stuff. I could try to. No stressing good enough, says Satya. Thank you so much for that. I need to take a look and make sure and see how it's coming. So let me go into YouTube so I can see my own stream and see how jumpy it is. Yeah, it's freezing up. It's freezing up, but now I'm looking at it just frozen solid. Now, interestingly enough, the banner's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And that one puzzles me because that banner should not be scrolling. That's strange. Why is that banner scrolling and I'm not moving? Wow, it's got something to do with the compression algorithm. It's easier to compress and quicker to compress the two different colors in the banner than it is the actual video of my face. So it's getting that much of it done each frame. It's able to compress and upload that portion of the screen that's scrolling, but when it comes to anything more than that, that's when the bandwidth limits it. Unbelievable. Let me turn that banner off, and that may free up a little headroom in there. Now I've got 2 bars, but I'm still frozen up, so maybe it's going to get better. Yeah, now I'm moving better. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm workable now. I think I'm workable. I think that banner has got to go. I think that banner was using up half of my bandwidth. But I still need to deal with the internet company. I can't have that. I got great download speeds, but the upload speeds suck. Let me take one more look again, and then we'll get back to business and talk about my adventures over this weekend, because I got to tell you, I must have the stamina of a 30-year-old to have done what I did this weekend, and not be sleeping in bed right now. Okay, now my download speed is pushing 300 megabits. My upload speed is up to 10. It's 10 times what it was the last time I tested. You think maybe that trying to push out just that banner is what did it? Now I'm back to full strength absolutely full strength on my upload speeds and bandwidth. I don't know. I could turn the banner back on and see if it screws it up, but I don't want to screw with it. It's working. It's working. I'm moving around. Look at me. Look at me moving around. Hey, how about that? What kind of delay do I have on there? Yeah, there it is. Moving around. Yeah, cool. All right, I'm going to have some coffee, everybody. I'm now happy. I can't be starting every stream like this, though. I might, the next time, just so you don't think something strange is going on. I watched one of Kiltz's 5 a.m. replays. He starts his stream a half an hour ahead of time. I guess to give people a chance to wander in and talk to each other for a while. Doesn't make any difference. You can start the stream anytime you want. I do the countdown just to make sure everything's working. And I'm glad I did, because at least I had a few minutes to try to fix it before I went live. Maybe next time I'll do a 10-minute countdown. So doesn't mean you have to come in when you see it live, but the number will be on the screen and you'll know it's 10 minutes before I appear live and in person. But there went the first 22 minutes, 22 minutes minus 5, almost 20 minutes of the stream wasted. That little indicator that I had on top of my screen is now gone, which means it's working fine. It's working fine. No more banners for me. No more banners. Next time I'll try it without the banners. I can get by with 10 megabits upload speed. That's fine. This is not that high resolution a screen. It's not 4K or anything. It's 720p. That's the fastest StreamYard will let you go unless you give them more money, and I've given them enough money already. Anyway, let's see who's here. Go back to the chat. Start to get back to the business at hand. Thanks for your patience, guys. Thanks for your patience. I noticed a lot of you have watched my little parking lot thing. In fact, I got more views on my live from, not the live, but the one I recorded this morning when I went out there. I get more views on that than I do when I try real hard to make a video. So maybe I'll just have to drive to that hotel and broadcast from the parking lot from here. Although I'd probably get tired of that and I'll have to do something else. Okay, who we got here? We got Linda G. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the coffee. Very nice of you. Linda's here. Hello to you all. Less junk, more health. Says we just stay dry. I am. I drove through some rain on the way home. Got home a couple hours ago. There was almost nobody at this symposium. It was almost depressing. They had 150 registered attendees. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, they had 300 or more. 150 people paid and spent the money to come to Orlando. They had one session room, whereas last year they had 2 and 3, all gone simultaneously. Last year they had Ken Berry, Dave Feldman was here, Zane Griggs, so many of the bigger of the names that I knew and recognized. There was so much more of interest to me. This year's lineup, I recognized a couple of them. If it wasn't for Kiltz being there, I probably wouldn't have even gone. But I wanted to meet him. I really wanted to meet him. I like him. We got along great, and we were like brothers from another mother. It was very gratifying, and I think we're going to be friends. But like so many of the friends I make in this space, you never find the time or the inclination or the reason to actually keep up a relationship or a friendship. But I hope we can do that. This guy is the busiest single human being I have ever seen. He has got more stuff going on, and he's 9 years younger than me, and he's in tremendous physical shape and got tremendous energy. He's a doctor. He's a fertility specialist. In fact, he does surgery. He's got a couple of places where he lives. I'm sure he does very well for himself. He's got his own airplanes. He's got a jet. And that was one of the reasons he had to leave early today, was because he had to get to the airport. His co-pilot on his jet had to get in there, fly in, so that they could get the jet out of Western Florida, out of Sarasota, before this weather came in. So he did that. But he's a pilot like me. We talked aviation. Found out he's got a hobby. Mine was model airplanes. He likes doing pottery. So, wow. He's got, I don't know, 8 clinics spread all over the place. And he's about to open another one in California, fertility clinics. Tremendous, tremendous business. Most guys like that, most guys that are entrepreneurs like that, are accomplished like that, competent physicians, usually have the ego to go along with it. This guy, if you ever have the privilege to meet him, honest to God, you'll just want to hug him. He is the most unassuming. Even though I busted on him a little bit, for me to feel comfortable enough with somebody to do what we did on that live stream yesterday, you got to know that there was a connection there, and it was worth the trip, and it was also worth driving all the way over there again just to say goodbye to him. Not a bromance, don't get me wrong, but you run into so few human beings on this planet anymore that you can admire at that level, and who are just caring as hell, want to do things for you, want to do things for people. He's just a good soul, and it was a privilege to meet him. And I hope that I wasn't too big a pain in the ass busting on him. But we had a ball on that live stream. We really did. And there's some things we disagree on, but doesn't everybody? Most of it is not carnivore. Most of it involves, I would say, religion mostly, but that certainly can't get in the way, or won't. Mitch is a legend. Thank you, Nick. If I'm a legend, I'm a young one, a new one. Kiltz has been at it quite a bit longer than me. He deserves a hell of a lot more subscribers than he has. I thought he had hundreds of thousands of subs. I went to make sure I was subscribed to his channel, because I was, and YouTube dumped me off his channel for some reason. But while I was going to resubscribe to check if I was, he has just like twice the number, about 70-something thousand, about twice the subscribers that I have. And I said, wow, I can't believe that. He should have 10 times what I have. And support him if you're not a subscriber of his. He's very prolific on YouTube, puts out a lot of stuff, and he understands. I see some questions rolling by in the chat. I'll get to them after I finish pontificating here and saying hi to everybody. So let me get on with that. Jerry Vodstish from Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. Good to see you. Lise Weberg from Denmark. Hey, it's the middle of the night over there. No, it isn't. It's Saturday. That's right. I'm so screwed up. I don't know what day of the week it is. It is Saturday, and it is evening in Denmark, and that's why you guys are here. And good to see you. Good to see you. Satya Khalsa, how you doing? Says, hey, and Phoenix, Arizona. I'm actually outside of Flagstaff, out of the heat for now. And here's Mark. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Good to see you, my friend. Shelley Bergstrom, good to see you. And Zach Tribe is here. Hi, Zach. Hello from Los Angeles. Have you been here before? I don't recognize that name, but if you're a first-timer, welcome, certainly. Jim B's Jaunts, 65-year-old from Texas, starting Carnivore Tuesday. Congratulations, man. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. I hope that in a year from now, I'm still seeing you here. Richard Williams from Copper Hill, Tennessee. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. And Moorhen from England. You're a regular on Saturday. Good to see you. Charger, Mopar Rick. Here, Ducky. Michael Pregler's here. Hiya, Michael. I'm glad you met Kiltsy. I listen to him every morning. You get up early in the morning to listen to Kilts? Yeah, not me. I mean, I'm up, but I usually have things I have to do. Anyway, they unsubscribed me from him. I had to resubscribe. Now he's starting to show up in my feed again. You know what they say, out of sight, out of mind. Josephine C. is here. Howdy, beautiful people. Turomir, thanks for the coffee, my friend. Hello from Finland. Good for you. Thank you so much. Spanky's here, the golf addict from Canada. Vulcan, Canada. William McCarthy. Hello, everyone. Nick Sheeson. Oi, aye, everyone, he says. Stephanie Reed is here from Arizona. And Grandma Prepper from South Carolina. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm going to keep going here until I don't see any new names. The antique action figure, old guys rule. We do that. Troy Kaysen, audio good. Yeah, hopefully the audio and the video is good now. It looks like it's good on my monitor. I'm not getting any of those low signal icons up on my screen. Got 100 people watching. Who knows? Who knows why that happens? Maybe it is my fault. Maybe there's something I'm using in StreamYard that's such a bandwidth hog or a processor hog. And it may be that banner that just slows everything down. There has to be one thing that when you change it makes a big difference. I don't need those banners anyway, so I don't understand that. I think that maybe the best thing for me to do would be to come on with a live stream and not even use this system. Just throw one up on a notebook or a tablet, like I did yesterday, like I did with the doctors yesterday afternoon, and see if on my internet here I have the same results or better than I had over there. Then it has to be something that's actually happening in my computer that maybe is just hogging processor power. At any rate, in order to really test it, I have to actually go live. I could probably make an unlisted live stream and test it. So I'll have to start playing with that. Amongst other things, amongst testing solar panels, cooking recipes, traveling, and all of that stuff. Jim B's, we had you. Golf Addict, Jerry Vodsters got you. Said hi, Golf Addict. Stephanie Reed. I think I got everybody that came in. Cliff Medina's here. How you doing, Cliff? Good to see you. Oak Town Girl, how you doing? Ken, Sleepy. Ken W, Storm Traffic, using up the bandwidth. Nah, I don't think so. This happened to me the last 2 live streams, and I'm beginning to think it is actually something in this computer just using a lot of processing power or something, affecting the speed that the stream is going up to StreamYard, because I won't bother to tell you how I know those things, but I did open StreamYard on my notebook, and I could see that StreamYard was getting a delayed feed, or I would have seen it on my notebook in real time. And I thought that happened last time. I thought that I noticed that the feed coming back to that log in on StreamYard was fast enough. At any rate, probably all that probably is meaningless to you, be meaningless to me unless I understood my own strategy in trying to fix it. Mitzi May. Mitzi May says, hello everyone. I'm looking for air fryers using your links. Thanks for your videos. Appreciate you. Thank you. And I appreciate you too. I appreciate you too. Oaktown Girl saying hi to everybody. And Mama Cracker. Mama Cracker. How you doing? We got a Mama Cracker and a Mama Prepper. Oh, God, I'm getting so confused. So I drove over this morning. I left my house around 7, got there around 8. There was no rush hour traffic, no big deal. But I have to tell you, I have to stop and tell you. And I'm going to try to tell this story without sounding like any kind of a racist, because I'm not. I'm not. And it's got nothing to do, this story has nothing to do with skin color, race, culture, or anything. This only acknowledges that people are different. People are different from each other. There are white people that are far different from me. There are black people that are more like me than other people. Skin color has nothing to do with it. Culture, community, the village, whatever you want to call it. We all have our own comfort zone around those people that are like us, and that's, I've talked about the root of prejudice in the human animal, and that's it. Used to be people around you that weren't like you. Usually, you had to be wary of them. People who are from your village or your family, you don't have to be wary around. Well, at least you shouldn't have to be. This is a huge hotel, the Hilton Orlando Resort. It's a resort. It is right there in the heart of the tourist area. Not near Disney, but near Universal Studios, SeaWorld, and some of those other ones. Like I say, it's a huge hotel. I don't know how many rooms they have. Thousands, probably. Huge lobby. You could walk for miles in that place because there's a convention type center attached to it where they have these huge meetings. When I got there yesterday morning, on Friday morning, the place was deserted. And it stayed fairly deserted until afternoon. Afternoon, and again, this is not, please believe me, this has nothing to do with race or skin color. At least 1,000 or more African Americans, I'll use that word, flooded the hotel. When I say flooded, I mean this big, huge, wide lobby was a solid mass of humanity like you see outside of the TSA checkpoint at airports, waiting in line, blocking everything to check into the hotel. And I looked at that and I said, who are these people? I wondered. So I asked around. Come to find out, it's a religious convention, a church thing. Evidently some kind of association of African American churches, and they're having their annual convention right now, and they're evidently flying in here from every part of the world because some of these people were speaking with foreign languages, some of them were speaking with accents. You couldn't move in that lobby. You couldn't move. There was a sea of it. I wasn't uncomfortable. It didn't make me uncomfortable. I was curious. Who are these people? My biggest curiosity had nothing to do with with them because of that larger group of anybody would have triggered me the same curiosity. I said, I can't afford to stay in this hotel. It's too expensive for me. How the hell can these 1,000 or 2,000 people afford to stay here? I was laughing when I thought that, but still, I'm saying, who are these people and where did they all come from and why are they here now? Well, I found all that out, and it's fascinating. I didn't talk to any of them. They didn't talk to me. I just mainly kind of pushed my way trying to get through them. What I did notice, and again, this is certainly not racist, and it's not judgmental in any way, because I don't blame any of them for the situation that they're in. I doubt that 5% of those human beings weighed less than 200 pounds. I doubt that 30% of them weighed less than 300 pounds. I have never in my life seen such a large group of such huge people. It was scary. It was, I wanted to fix them all. I wanted to help them all. I wanted to go up to every one of them. You crazy? You're killing yourself. What are you eating anyway? But you can't do that. But I don't go out among crowds of people. I'm a hermit. I stay at home. The most I ever get surrounded by people is maybe half a dozen at Sam's Club at 8 o'clock in the morning. I do not go out in the world, and I haven't for years. The last time I saw a group of people this large, and I mean that both ways, in numbers and size, was years ago when I used to go to the theme parks with my ex-wife, 20 years ago, and see the people. And even back then I said, wow, you notice these people are, every year they're just getting fatter and fatter. And it had been a long time since I was caught myself smack dab in the middle of a sea of humanity like that. Again, skin color aside, they could have been purple, green, yellow, white. It makes no difference. I noticed their size, the size of these women, the size of these men. Massive, massive. And it was a shock. It was a shock to me. And then, of course, I went to try to get a cup of coffee this morning. They were lined up at the cafe. It would have been a 45-minute to an hour wait. I gave up on the coffee. I went down to where the Keto Summit was. Nobody was there yet. And we're talking about 8:45 already. I left the hotel yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock because the crowds of these people were just getting in the way. You couldn't move when they were registering. And this morning, you couldn't get a cup of coffee because there was 1,000 people trying to get a cup of coffee. Evidently, their meeting started around 9 o'clock, and all of a sudden, they all disappeared. Ended the whole way down the escalator, gone. I went in and got my cup of coffee at 9 o'clock. Went over to the keto thing. They still didn't have anything going. There was only 2 or 3 people wandering around there. There was nothing going on. And that's when I said, hell, I'm going up to the parking lot, have a cigar and record a video. And maybe. And of course, the small amount of noise that there was up there in the parking lot found me. If you saw the end of the video, you can't believe this was a car with 8 teenage girls in it. 8 teenage girls who were Hispanic. There wasn't one of those teenage girls in that car that weighed less than 180 or 200 pounds. They were all huge, screaming, noisy, out of control. I don't know whether they were staying at the hotel. The thing about the International Drive area of Orlando is that being touristy, it's an international destination. You talk about a cultural mix. You have some of everything in the world at all times there. And most people that are from Orlando, just stay the hell away from that area, because those people, they rent cars, and that's a scary thing. So Kilt said goodbye. He's leaving. He's because of the weather. A lot of other people did, and I said, "Well, I'm not going to just sit around here until 3 o'clock waiting to do a live stream. I'm going to go home." So I came home, made myself some bacon and eggs, my first meal of the day, and faced my technical issues. So thank you all for coming. I see Rosie's here. I saw somebody made reference. Hi, Rosie. Good to see you. I'm going to start attacking the chat now, unless you have something you want me to talk about. And if you do, put it in a question. 3 capital Qs, if you don't mind, and I will try to find them. Well, it was only 40 minutes before we got to this. United Carnivore. I think I probably answered this, and I knew I would answer it before I got to the question in the chat. How would you rate the Keto Orlando Summit? Did you attend any classes or discussions? Besides Kills, did you find many carnivores that attended? There were some carnivores there. They were usually hanging around Kilts, and a few of them. There were more carnivores there this year than last year. You know my feelings on keto. I have nothing. I mean, I understand it completely. I understand why people want to be keto. I talked about that in my little video from the parking lot this morning. You can't fix that. I lived through it my whole life before it dawned on me, and it just is not going to dawn on people. And like everything else in the world, there's always somebody to sell you what you want to buy. And those people want to buy stuff that allows them to feel like they can still eat the sweet, tasty foods, but not suffer the health consequences. And like I said in that video this morning, if you're not a carb addict, you could do that. But if you can give up the carbs, if you're not a carb addict and you don't need the carbs and you don't get that addiction reward from the carbs, be a carnivore. It'll be easier for you than anybody. Why do you need the carbs? If you do need the carbs, then you need to be a carnivore, because otherwise you're going to fall off the wagon like they all do sooner or later. And there's always somebody to sell you something. And these are still nice people that are selling this stuff. Most of them aren't even aware. They think they're, helping people with their healthy pancake syrup and stuff. They don't know. Nobody harps on addiction like I do. They don't know that they're gradually helping people step off the wagon back onto the ground again. Because that's what happens when you keep eating sweet imitations of the real stuff you're addicted to. I've been harping and screaming about that for 2 years, and I see it everywhere I look, with the recipe videos on how to make carnivore cheesecake with artificial sweetener in it. You just can't do it. Like an alcoholic trying to drink non-alcoholic beer is going to be back on real beer in a short time. Because your body knows it's not real beer, and you're addicted to real beer and what's in it. So that's a shortcut off the wagon. Happened to me my whole life. And it's sad when I see that. And I talked this morning also, I talked about, do we think we could have a carnivore summit? And the answer is no. The more I think about it, the more I think it would be impossible. There's just not enough of us. Number 2, there's no sponsors. What possible product would a company want to pay to sponsor an event that they can't sell anything to, where they can't have a booth? Because the stuff they were selling at the keto conference was all keto junk, or these red light gadgets and all of this mysterious stuff that I don't put any credibility in. But the kind of stuff you find at a flea market. There were vendors there that had hats and T-shirts and things. But who's going to sponsor a carnivore? You think the meat industry would? I don't think so. The meat industry has dropped the ball. They're not doing enough promoting. They're not doing anything these days. The Beef Council. What are they doing? When's the last time you saw an ad on TV telling you how good beef is? These people are hiding under their beds now after this onslaught. They're just trying to keep everybody from coming and slaughtering all their cows. It's crazy what's going on here. It's crazy. It's crazy. At any rate, that's the answer to your question. There were a few carnivores there. I attended half or of the last 10 minutes of somebody's speech. There's nothing, trust me, nothing that I wanted to hear from any of the people there, because their speeches were all geared to keto people. And I'm not a good speech goer anyway. So hopefully that answers your question. Next, QQQ. Did you take any teas with you to hand out? No, I don't have any of them. They don't give me those things. I have to buy them at the regular price if I want them. So no, I haven't printed any in bulk yet. We don't sell a lot of T-shirts. It's a nothing thing. It's I just did it because everybody was asking me to. You notice I don't really push them a lot. 100 people will tell you they want them, and one or two people will actually buy them when you go through the trouble of doing it. The ones that I have, when you create a new T-shirt, they give you one for free. So I created 3 different designs. I ended up only getting 2 different T-shirts. I didn't get the third one. So I have 2 T-shirts of my own, and I'm wearing one of them now. I'm wearing my Food Pyramid, Carnivore Food Pyramid. I wore that today, and I'll tell you, it was very gratifying for me today with the people that I did meet, the people that recognized me, because I was curious. I was curious, and it's not vanity. I was just curious. I said to most, they were all women, one guy, but all of them were women. And I said, do I look like you thought I would look? And I think that's kind of a normal curiosity for somebody who is seen by tens of thousands of people, but seen on a screen, seen in videos, but never seen in person. And that's true of movie stars or anybody else. Not that I'm in that league, but still, I was curious. I wonder what these people think I really look like. I tell people I'm 5'10", but the almost uniform response I got to that question, the first one was, "You're much taller than I thought you were." So I must look shorter because I use that 360 camera a lot, and that tends to distort things when they get away from the center. So sometimes it makes my head look big. Sometimes it makes me look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in my arms. Sometimes my arms look like toothpicks. It's crazy, but I love the effects of it, and I look past that. They said, and this one really got me. A couple of them said to me, you're in much better physical shape than I thought you were. Whereas people from my videos tell me I'm too skinny, I look frail. These people today told me that for my age, I've got good musculature, vascularity in my veins. They pop out of my arms, and that was really nice to hear. I enjoyed that. So thank you guys, those of you who did meet me, and none of them said, "Wow, Mitch, you look a lot older and decrepit than you look on the videos." Would they have said that to me? Would they have said that to me, even if they meant it? I don't know. At any rate, I I didn't take any T-shirts with me. No, no. I wasn't there to, whoops, I wasn't there to sell anything. I wasn't there to sell anything. Next question. Hey, Mitch, any plans to smoke some brisket? This is from Life After Carbs. Chris. Hi, Chris. I just got a new smoker and did brisket twice, much better than when I used to do brisket sous vide for 24 hours. Yeah, some people sous vide at first and then finish it in the smoker. There's always ways to do combinations. I hadn't made the plan to, but yes, absolutely. When I get 2 minutes to get back to that smoker again, I do want to smoke a brisket. I love brisket. That's what my son and I get when I go out to lunch with him. We go to Sonny's Barbecue and we order a pound or two of brisket. And I put up with a small amount of seasoning. They don't overdo it with the rubs and things. Put the banner back on and let's see, says Boyd Lamb. God, I hate to do that, but all right, I'll try it. You ready? Now it won't screw it up, but I'm going to test it. But I will. I'll put the banner back on and see if my little indicator comes up. And it's not. It seems to be working so far. So maybe that theory wasn't correct. Maybe it's something that only happens at the beginning of a stream. But it fixed itself real quick when I turned the banner off. And I'm looking at my replay and it's coming up perfect. God, I don't know. At any rate, we got, let me turn that banner off here and still got Mama Cracker's thing up there. Let's get her thing off. I have a horrible habit when I get preoccupied of leaving somebody's comment up there. And that person is probably saying, would you get my name off the screen already? You're embarrassing me. Whatever. BMAT has to leave at 3:30 going to the movies, so obviously you're gone by now. I need to get further down in the chat here. So let's see. The next question that I have is, got here 28 minutes late. What is the model and year of your Kia, and do you like it? My Kia is a 2023 Telluride, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a fabulous car. And I bought a bigger one. I used to drive Hyundais, and I had a Santa Fe, but I wanted a bigger SUV because of the storms and hurricanes in Florida, and the fact that I live in a manufactured home. That one of these storms, even though this home has been here for 35 years, one of these storms could come along and flatten this thing, like, they do in these places. I have a lot, all my whole life is in this house. Everything I own is in this house. Sentimental things, valuable things, it's all here. I decided that if I have to evacuate, if I have to run over to the West Coast because we've got a Category 4 coming this way, I want to have a vehicle big enough where I can at least load it up full of stuff that's the most important stuff to me, because the rest of it may not be there when I get back. And in the Midwest, people live in fear of tornadoes. In the West, people live in fear of earthquakes. In the West Midwest, people are waiting for the big volcano to blow, Yellowstone. Here along the Gulf of Mexico, from Texas all the way to Florida and up the East Coast, we every year feel like we're targets of these storms. And we have good years and bad years. Somehow, coincidentally, the timing of these cycles of good and bad years seems to fall almost in line with solar cycles, and not SUV sales, but we don't talk about that shit. And we are coming up again on what they call solar maximum. And I expect that we'll have a season or two of more storms, warmer water. Whoa, somebody bought me a coffee. I didn't turn my notifications off. Did you hear that? Did you hear the ka-ching? Wow. Mark Davis bought me a coffee. Hi, I'm Mark. How you doing, buddy? Thank you so much, my man. Wow. Look at that. I will thank everybody that bought me a coffee. Are you going to take all of us for a walk on the beach while it's still nice? I keep threatening to do that one morning. Get my camera. I'm about 7, 8 miles from the beach, and go over there first thing in the morning and walk up and down the beach and talk to you about shit. So, yeah, I think I could probably do that. I think I need to turn the Wi-Fi back on my phone because I'm still connected to the cellular network. So let's see here, Wi-Fi, turn it on. Okay, and I think I'll turn the notifications off. So how you doing, Mark? Good to see you, my man. And I will reply to everybody who bought me a coffee today after the stream is over. Thank you so much. And I usually turn off my notifications so my phone doesn't go ka-ching or beep or whatever, because I get a lot of emails and notifications from YouTube and stuff like that. So are you going, let's see, what was the question? Got here 28 minutes. What's the model of your Kia? Yes, I have a Telluride, and I love it, and it's a great car. And I've been driving Kias and Hyundais, I would say, for probably 16, 17 years, and I've never had a single problem with one of them. I didn't lease this one. This one I actually bought, but and financed it. But all the rest of them before that were leases, and I always traded them in between 2 and 2.5 years into a 3-year lease. I always found that if it was, I used to really get great deals on the leases by doing that, and ended up spending less money overall on a car than if I had bought it and financed it and then traded it in. And I ended up with a brand new car every 2.5 years. This one I decided to buy. I don't know why. I think it's going to cost me more money in the long run. But I'm tired of getting a new car. I'd like to just finally, at my age, after my financial some little bit come back, one of these days I'd like to own a car without car payments. I should live so long. That's why I'm on this lifestyle, so I can live long enough to pay off a car. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's see. Next question would be Mark Davis. Mark Davis, I hadn't gotten down into the chat where you came in. Good to see you. Was it bacon and eggs that was your go-to meal after not eating all day Friday? Excuse me while I beat my eggs. I got home in time. I actually ate yesterday. I ate my first meal, my only meal, my one meal a day at about 5:30. Okay. I didn't eat bacon and eggs. I ate something that I could just eat quick without a lot of fuss. I had smoked salmon opened, so I took about a half a pound of smoked salmon and a bunch of pork rinds and ate them. And I cooked up a couple of hamburger patties, total of about a pound. So while the hamburgers were cooking, I was eating the salmon. I wasn't starving. I wasn't all that hungry. But it had been like 26, 28 hours since I had eaten the day before. And I really wasn't out to fast. And I didn't want to wait till the next day. And it wasn't too late yet before I went to bed. So I said, okay, if I'm going to eat something, I'm going to do it now. I don't want to go to bed with a full stomach. I didn't want to make bacon and eggs. I decided I'm going to eat a pound of ground beef and a half a pound of salmon and just have one meal. So I ate my day's worth of food basically in one meal. I don't know. I think that might have been a little overambitious. As I was getting near the end of it, I was saying, this is the reason why I don't do OMAD. I just can't stuff that much food into me anymore in one sitting. But I did. I finished it. Fortunately, the stuffed feeling went away before I went to bed. And today I got home early enough to have my first meal of the day about 1:30. And I knew I had the live stream in an hour and a half. I had time to eat. And yes, Mark, you guessed it. 5 thick strips of bacon and 5 eggs. And as far as my second meal of the day, as soon as this stream is over, I will. That would be about 3.5 hours from the last meal. I will probably cook another pound of burger patties up, and that'll be my total food input for the day. And during the course of any day, I very rarely ever eat more than 3 or different things. Bacon, eggs, and beef. Beef and salmon. Ribs and beef. 2 to 3 different foods in a day. never have a smorgasbord or a buffet kind of a eating experience. Probably just as well. So no bacon and eggs yesterday. Although, believe it or not, bacon and eggs, it's a toss-up. Ribeye, bacon and eggs. Ribeye. You give me a good sous vide ribeye seared right. Ugh. If you remember the movie The Matrix, where they got the guy who was the engineer guy, I forget his name, and they were trying to win him back, and they had him eating a steak. Remember that steak eating scene from The Matrix? And the way that steak looked on the fork was perfect. That's how I feel about a perfectly cooked ribeye. It would be the greatest enticement for me to do virtually anything. And the next question, Mitch. You're on big screen in St. Augustine. I asked manager to plug my phone in. This is Rosie. Rosie, you got me on the big screen. On the live stream, I'm telling them how to find you. Holy cow. Wow, Rosie, thank you. Thank you. I hope I haven't scared anybody away. I hope they're not throwing shit at you because you stuck my face in front of all these people. But that's great. You're up in St. Augustine. Great town. Great town. Used to, when I had my boat, used to take the boat up the Intercoastal and dock at the Bridge of Lions there and spend a few days up in St. Augustine wandering around the downtown. Back in those days. The restaurants are great. The restaurants, it's a neat town. It's the oldest city in America, so they say. But thank you, Rosie. Thank you so much. When I do a road trip, I cook soup. Okay. Next question. Let me keep going here. I don't want to miss any of the QQ. If you took the trouble to put Q's in there, I want to find them. United Carnivore. Okay, so we're back to the beginning. Let's try one more time around. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Life after carbs. Here, Mark Davis's question. And no, that's it. Round and round. So if you got any questions, put the Q's in there so I can find them. I could try searching for 2 Q's and see what happens. Let me try that. And then we'll just go start reading the chat. Let's see. No, that just finds me the first 2 Q's of the 3. So that's not gonna do anything. All right, let me go to the bottom of the chat and see what's going on. We have 128 people in here. Somebody ought to be curious about something. You guys, Aunt B's talking about old Buicks, cars, Volvos. DS is on fire tonight, whoever DS is. Oh, DS 111. I know where to buy Chinese girlfriends in my area. Yeah, great. Oh, man, if I'm looking for a Chinese girlfriend, I'll come and see you. Ellen is here. Scooby, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see she's talking to lambs in Holland. And you guys are talking about cars. Oh, DS, someday I'll get another girlfriend, even if I have to work for it. Yeah. For me, I don't know. I think I'd be asking for trouble. I think I finally got used to, being a bachelor, which took some getting used to for me. When I got divorced 20 years ago, first of all, you have to admit that this marriage failed. And I don't care if it's all their fault. It's still your fault a little bit. It always takes 2 to tango. And I've always been willing to take responsibility for some of whatever I might have done wrong. Although I don't think I did anything wrong, but I would always tell her, I'll take half the blame, but not all the blame. And I never blamed her. I never told her what was wrong with her. I only received that message on my end, what was wrong with me, what I was doing wrong, how I was disappointing her. I never gave it back to her. She was a sick woman, bipolar, and no logic whatsoever. And you can't have a discussion with somebody like that. They immediately get defensive and they start hurling it back at you. And I had learned long ago that in order for me to have stayed with her for the 20 years that I did, I have to eat shit every day in the name of peace. So I did. And she had her good times and bad times. And when she had her good times, she was the woman I fell in love with. And I just hoped that they would last a while before, it was Jekyll and Hyde, before Hyde came back out of the closet. Went shopping, bought 100 handbags and 100 pairs of shoes, and told me what was wrong with me again. It was a horrible way to live. Anybody that's living with somebody like that eventually is driven nuts and insane trying to cope with it, especially if you have a conscience and especially if you understand where it's coming from. Because I couldn't hate her. See? I couldn't hate her. I loved her. I couldn't hate her. I understood where it was coming from. I knew enough about how the brain works. They prescribed her medicine. They had her on lithium and other things. According to her, that was a conspiracy to destroy her and take away all of her fun. It was a lobotomy to her. And it was my fault because I was in cahoots with the doctor to destroy her. That's the paranoia that goes along with bipolar, manic depressive. They exhibit that. They all do. Everybody's out to get them. So she would stop taking her medication. Took about 2-3 weeks for Hyde to come back out of the closet again. And I wrestled with, do I ask her why she stopped taking her medication? Because I knew what that would bring. Here comes the next round, the next onslaught of me being the bad guy, me trying to hurt her, me trying to destroy her life by making her take medicine, me being cahoots with her psychiatrist. People have committed suicide just trying to deal with people like this. Her psychiatrist wasn't all that well balanced anyway. Her psychiatrist committed suicide. Her daughter's husband, her daughter's just like she was, committed suicide. Suicide by semi-truck one dark night on a road, all of a sudden, 2 o'clock in the morning. Somehow he managed to tangle with a semi and get killed. She was such a perfectionist, this woman. And I know she's not watching this, but I mean, this shows you how far you have to go just to try to keep the peace. She was such a perfectionist that when she started to get into her late 40s and started to get a little older, she was a beautiful woman. She was gorgeous. And she couldn't handle it. So she started down the road of plastic surgery. You wouldn't believe the amount of surgery that she had. Every surgery was never right. Never right. These doctors are in cahoots with you to make me ugly. So then we started with lawyers. She starts complaining to all the medical boards about all of these doctors that are trying to help her. Writes complaints, files formal complaints against them. She got herself blacklisted in the medical community. It got to the point where doctors wouldn't even see her. They wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. Guess whose fault that was? It was my fault. I was doing it. I was calling every doctor in Orlando, according to her, telling them not to deal with her. And I'm going, I understand what's going on here. I can't get her to take her meds. I can't get her to believe me. She has no concept of logic or reality. It's not just me. So she went after this plastic surgeon that she claims botched up her surgery on purpose. There's no shortage of lawyers that'll take these cases. Long story short, because of that, this plastic surgeon committed suicide. We finally got divorced in 2004. She's still on my case. She's still, up until Florida passed a law that I pay her alimony, and up until Florida passed a law that said permanent alimony is now illegal, I would get at least a letter a week from her, 10 pages. I have them all. I save them up. I got 100 pounds of them here. Just in case she ever drags me back into court, looking for more money I don't have. And in the every 2 weeks, she handwrites or types out the complete story of how I ruined her life. And because of the fact that she's been stalking me, I can't move without her researching it somehow, hiring private eyes. She would call the police under the auspices of a wellness check to make sure I hadn't moved or gone anywhere. Because I had to get out of town. I couldn't even live anywhere near her anymore. She was parked in front of my house all the time. Because I ruined her life and she wasn't going to let me have a life. And if I ever did manage to get back in business and earn any money, by God, it belonged to her. I mean, this is the type of insanity that you deal with certain human beings. And yet, I still don't want to hurt her because I still understand where it's all coming from, which makes me a fool. And I should have listened to my attorney. I should have destroyed her 20 years ago in the divorce itself. It would have saved me 20 years of life. And if any of you have ever wondered, why I'm so sensitive to criticism in some of your comments, I can't even imagine a human being having taken the crap that I took from her for 20 years on an almost daily basis and not committing suicide. One of these days, I don't normally talk about this. I don't ever talk about it. It's very painful for me. If I read you one of these 10-page letters that she wrote, and you believed even a word of it, you would want to see me shot. Because no human being on the planet could be as evil, conniving, conscious, what's the word I'm looking for? Conscience-less than the person she's talking about in those letters. And if any of you've gotten to know me, you know that's not who I am. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But criticize me, and man, I've had enough. I've had enough of people telling me what's wrong with me. I've just had enough of it. Indulge me when I go off on these people. Don't tell me, you need to grow a thicker skin. Let me tell you something. There's very few men on the planet that could have survived the life that I survived and got to this point. With the business failures, with the lunatic marriage. My kids wonder how I'm still alive. They know. Because she even threatened to try to ruin them in their own jobs by lying to their bosses about them. My kids. She wanted to ruin my kids' lives as well as mine. I've never met a human being as vindictive over nothing as this woman was. And it finally stopped the day that they passed a law in Florida a year ago that said permanent alimony is now not a thing. That if you've been paying alimony for 15 years, you could go into a court, petition a judge. They must do away with it. Used to say they may do away with it. The minute she found out from one of her lawyers, the minute she found out that if she tried to come after me, I could cut her off, I never heard from her again. I still pay the alimony. I don't have to, but I still do. I do. It's peace and quiet money to me. If I tried to cut her off, I'd have to deal with her again. The thought of dealing with her would cause me to kill myself at this point in my life. So, I don't know how I got started on that story, but I don't wish that kind of a thing on my worst enemy. There is nothing like it. People who have stalkers know what I'm talking about. People who have to move to another town to get away from it know what I'm talking about. So, anyway, sorry. People must find this interesting. Nobody's gone away, so. That is the language, that is the reason why I'm so damn sensitive to anybody telling me there's something wrong with me. Nobody's had more of that in my life than I have, when in actuality, I was the most decent, loving. I did more for that woman than anybody would have done. I put up with her when other guys would have had her killed. I still tried to make her happy. Impossible. I did develop one of my famous sayings back then that it was about the only thing I threw at her, and that was, I would say to her, I want you to be reasonable, because I can't reason with the unreasonable. I can't be logical with the illogical. And that's what I was facing with all the time. You may as well go talk to a tree. Be more fun talking to a tree, because the tree wouldn't accuse you of being the scum of the earth. And then, a week later, she wants me to meet her new girlfriend. She introduces me. This is my husband. I'm so lucky he's the greatest guy that ever lived. No man ever treats a woman like this guy treats me. I love him so much. He's the best. He's the best. And then her girlfriends are saying to me, man, Mitch, I wish I could find a guy like you. So which guy am I? That's the frustrating part. Am I God's gift to you, or am I the most evil, devious, conniving, hurtful person that ever walked that ruined your life? I can't be both. That's what happens when you're dealing with either schizophrenia or bipolar. Depends on which way their chemistry swings at any given time. They become two entirely different people. Mine even had two different names. I would say, who are you today? And then I would know what to expect, and whether, run and hide, or whether I maybe could have a marriage and we could go out to eat or something. And when before she started with the plastic surgery, which ended up ruining her life completely, she wanted those big lips like the movie stars have. I said, no. I said, you're gorgeous. Why do you want to screw up your looks? You don't want me to be happy. You just don't want me to have anything, do you? And then she went out and did it anyway. She let this plastic surgeon, the one that eventually committed suicide, she let this guy talk her into collagen injections. Women do that to make their lips puffy. So she comes home one day, and I come into the kitchen, and she's got these big puffy lips. So what happened to you? She's getting a fist fight? No, I had a collagen injection, but don't worry, it's only temporary. It only lasts a month. It'll be gone, so no worry. I just wanted to see what it looked like. Okay. Well, turns out that before they inject collagen in you, they're supposed to do a particular test. Because there are some people that have a certain genetic defect that the collagen screws them up for life, screws up their immune system for life. And this guy didn't do the test properly. He didn't let it cook long enough. He's supposed to wait 2 weeks. They puncture you and put some of this stuff under your skin. And they're supposed to wait 2 weeks and see if it gets inflamed or whatever. Well, she couldn't wait. He went ahead and gave her the collagen. Turns out she's got this. It's a HBLA 37 gene or something like that. At any rate, it turned her, that turned her into an invalid on top of everything else. She got fibromyalgia. She got white spots on her brain MRIs. She muscle pain beyond belief. I mean, it killed her. And who had to take care of her? Who do you think? Me. And I was the bad guy because I didn't want her to look pretty anymore, because I didn't want her to let these butchers go to work on her. You can't make this stuff up. You can't. I'm sorry I even started talking about it, because now I remember it, and it's very, very, very upsetting to remember this kind of stuff. But be nice to me, folks. I'm a very sensitive guy. Now maybe you know a little bit why. And maybe now you know why I had a big boat in Daytona Beach, so I had someplace to go and get away from it all. Why I have become such a loner these days, because I'm scared shitless of having anybody else's happiness tied to anything I might do or not do. I couldn't go through that again. I couldn't. I have a conscience, and I feel responsible for people that are in my life, and I could not take on another one of those things. And it's easy to get into those things, especially if they're really good looking, because we are male animals after all. So you guys there's a case in Florida now. Plastic surgeon killed his wife doing surgery on her. I think they're going to charge him. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, Ellen. I wouldn't be surprised. All of these doctors, what they won't do, the lives they won't screw up for money. It's crazy. And no matter what I do, I'm always running into doctors giving bad advice. That's why I have such a passion for what I'm doing. It's crazy. Questions. Did I miss the religious political segment, says Keto Carney Cajun? No, we're not doing that anymore. Sorry. Bless you and her, my friend. Nick, she says, DS. Oh, okay. Your DS is going after his Chinese girlfriend. At least that's what I got. DS says, I really like your comment. Thanks for sharing. Mitch, you lived life in an armadillo show. I'm glad we have you. Thank you so much. Thank you, MP. That's very, very, very kind. Very kind of you to say. I survived. I survived the business failures. I survived losing the money. I survived the near, I'm tired of this shit, let's just end it now phase that I went through. I survived being so dead broke, I had to worry about the price of cucumbers after having been a very wealthy man. I survived the second marriage. The first marriage, the mother of my children, she was a great woman. I still admire her. I just couldn't live. We just got married way too young, and we were so totally different that I decided, and I'm sure she agreed, that, we're not really right for each other, but we don't hate each other. We both still admire each other, and we have two fabulous children together, and the world is a better place, I think, for that. So never been any hard feelings there. But God, this second one. I told you a story about how I met her when she let the door go in my face, going into a Bennigan's or something like that. And I met her because I said, you just let the door go on my face. And I say to myself, I was married to her for 20 years, been away from her for 20 years. So that happened 40 years ago. I was in my 30s. I was in my late 30s at the time. And I say to myself, what would have happened if I pulled into the parking lot of that place 10 seconds later? This is how fickle life is. Think about that. If I pulled into that parking lot 10 minutes later, she was going into that place with her girlfriend to have a drink. I would have never gone up to her or even bothered with her. I never went after the really glamorous ones. Because they have their own set of problems. They're usually well, you know how it is with the glamorous women. They just think the world owes them everything because they're so friggin' pretty. And they get everything they want because we stupid men fawn all over them and treat them like they really have something special because they're just pretty. Thank you, nature. Thank you for that. And I never would have talked to her at all had she not almost broken my face letting the door go into it. 10 seconds later, I was 37 years old. If I had gotten out of my car 10 seconds later, I wouldn't be here today talking to you. The last 40 years of my life, who knows what would have happened? I could maybe be dead by now. But everything that happened to me in the last 40 years happened as a result of me, after she shut the door on me, saying, be more careful, you almost killed me. You let the door go, big heavy door go right into my face. And she apologized, and we started talking, and there went 40 years of my life. And every one of you has turning points in your life. They happen more often than you think. They happen every minute of every day. Something different. Make a red light or don't. You don't make the red light, you push it a little bit, you get in an accident, you end up injured, miserable for life because you couldn't sit a minute and a half to wait for the light to change green. You had to try to beat that red light. It's all it takes. Our whole lives are made up of those instances that happen every day, every minute, that in one respect or another change the course of our life. And they call that the butterfly effect. And it's true. And we all know, and I know, even my first wife. My kids wouldn't exist today if some oddball quirk of fate hadn't have brought us together in Germany, of all places. I was in the military and she was working. She's from California, but she was working for the U.S. government over there on a military base. And I met her. I had a band. We were playing a gig in a USO club. I did that on the side over there. They paid a little bit. And she had come in there to have a drink one night, and we met. What are the odds? What are the odds? And I tell my kids that. I said, you know how close you came to not being born? And we all did. We all did. Our parents, how did they meet? What could have been different by 10 seconds or 15 seconds when they would have crossed paths and you wouldn't have been here? Am I the only one that thinks about shit like that? Maybe. Maybe. We got any more questions? Let's search for them. Time is it? Well, we've been at it for an hour and a half. Give you credit for the technical difficulties. 156 people listening to me go on about the ridiculous things that have happened to me in my life. I guess it's drama, I suppose. Let's see. Question, Mitch, you're on the big screen. Yeah, got that one. Would Carnivore have helped her if you knew about it then? I think it might have. She was Italian. She drank a bottle or two of wine every day. But she wasn't an alcoholic. I mean, if you thought you'd just ask her, she'll tell you, I'm not an alcoholic. I only drink wine. You can't just drink wine and be an alcoholic. You have to drink whiskey. But you drink 2 bottles of wine every day. Well, but doesn't matter. I'm not an alcoholic. You can't be an alcoholic if you only drink wine. So she drank wine. She was thin. She was gorgeous. She didn't eat sweets. She didn't eat a lot of sweets. She wasn't addicted to the kind of stuff that she ate. She was a good cook, and she made real food. You know, she made meat and veggies and potatoes and stuff, but not a lot of junk. She wouldn't sit around eating, you know, Doritos and stuffing her face full of that crap. She would eat dessert, but she would never gorge on it. And she, in that respect, was lucky. She ate like a Mediterranean person. That's the way she was raised. Her father was Italian. Her mother was from Eastern Europe. But they ate real food, and she was a pretty good cook, too. And I ate pretty well, and that helped me with my low-carb dieting. And you know, so we were both pretty low-carb. Her downfall was drinking all that wine. I think just giving up the wine would have really helped her. I think the food she was eating probably was okay for her. But I think the alcohol is what really screwed her mind up. And then the final assault to her brain came when she got that collagen injection, because she started to have symptoms of multiple sclerosis after that. She had white spots on her brain MRI. It destroyed her brain and just tripled the grief in my life. All I heard about was how she was going to get even with these doctors. You know, she was going to get even with them. Got to the point where even the lawyers had her blacklisted. They wouldn't even talk to her because they knew she was crazy. There wasn't a plastic surgeon left in town, and I knew a lot of these guys. I had a couple of them in my Rotary Club. I was a big businessman back then. I knew everybody in Orlando. I knew everybody, the city council people, the postmaster. I knew them all. They were all, it was a good old boys type of thing. And I mean, I heard it from a lot of different directions that nobody wants to deal with her anymore. She just wants to get everybody. Everybody's out to get her. It's a big conspiracy. And I'm leading it, according to her. So you can't, you can't fix that. You can't fix that. You can't fix. You have a car engine and all the crankshafts break. You can't make it run again. That's what happens when your brain breaks. You can't, I don't think, will Carnivore have fixed it? It may have helped a little bit. But whether it would have fixed it, how do I know? How do I know? At any rate, it took me a lot of years to get over that. That was between losing the business and having to go through all that previously. I mean, I was going through that even when I was successful in business. At least I had my office I could go to get away from it, and my boat. But it's a shame to be in a marriage where your primary motivation is to see how you can arrange things so you can spend the most amount of time away from it. And yet, I didn't want to get divorced. I'd already been divorced once. I didn't want to admit failure again. I kept hoping upon hope that something would fix her. Never happened. It just got worse and worse and worse. More questions. Would Carnivore have helped her? I honestly don't know. Might have helped a little bit. Mitch, do you think this diet could have helped your ex-wife again? Hear many people with bipolar disorder. Yes, it could have early on. Towards the end there, I don't know. I have thought about that, though. But, that word if, we all use the word if. There's a funny, and you've all heard this saying, so I'm not telling you something you haven't heard before, but when you think about the word if, think about the expression, if a frog had wings, it wouldn't bust its ass when it hopped. That's if. Most of the time, what you're ifing couldn't happen anyway. So it's an exercise and it's mental gymnastics. If a frog had wings, he wouldn't bust his ass when he hopped. Next one. Where are we? Do we have another question? Where is it? Did I miss the religious segment? No. Mark Davis, back to Mark Davis's questions. I think I got all those. Would Carnivore have helped her? Mitch, do you think his diet? Okay. So I got all the questions. I'm on the big screen, wherever that is. Thank you, Rosie. Big live stream here today. big live stream. Big attendance. Big attendance. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And here I'm rambling about. I guess I've had a lot of drama in my life. I never went after the drama. Maybe that's why I'm so keen on keeping it as simple, keeping everything just as simple as I can right now. I revel in the lack of responsibility. It's incredible, especially at my age, and just concentrating on trying to do this better. I get my friendship from you guys. You have no idea what that means to me. It's why I try to get rid of the haters so fast, and sometimes even viciously, because I can't put up with that. Get out of my life. I've had enough of you, enough of people like you. I'm sure I've maybe alienated a few good people because they say, "Boy, this guy's really mean. I don't like him." No. Every one of us has limits, certain limits for pretty much anything. Once those limits are exceeded, there's a part of us that comes out that may not be so socially acceptable anymore. I have that side of me, and there have been times in my life when I've had to let that beast out. And the people that were on the other side of that beast, when I went into that mode, wished they hadn't. Took a lot to push me that far, but I've been pushed that far a few times in my life. And when I get pushed at all now, even a little bit, it just brings all those memories back, and I fight not to get too upset. And I do that with comedy, okay? I mean, I've always found that when you're laughing your ass off, you can't be mad, you can't be angry, you can't be stressed when you're laughing. Laughter is the best medicine. So by exercising the comedian in me to point out the absurd and laugh about it, I deflect. I deflect the sheer, what's the word I'm looking for? Meanness, unthinking, whatever, of other people as they go about their lives just insulting everybody without remembering that that person that they're trying to hurt for no reason is still a human being. And we've forgotten one human being to another these days in this world, how to treat each other honorably and honestly with compassion, because we're convinced that that other person is out to get us in every which way. And if not to get us, they want to get our money. And they don't care. And the more and more robocalls you get, the more and more phishing emails you get, the more and more scam artists you hear about that are using people's emotions in dating scams and stealing people's money, the low-life, scumbag, miserable human beings that seem to be growing in number every day, and the attacks come more frequently, where you have to live your life watching out for everything. Don't open that email. Don't answer that phone. Be careful, don't click on that link, because it'll blow up your computer because somebody's trying to steal your identity. The more of that we have to live with every day, the more paranoid we get, the more distrusting we get, and the more we descend back into the jungle mentality of kill or be killed. And this whole world is almost all the way back there now, and it's scary. It's a scary place. It's a scary place. You drive on the highway, you get road rage. It's crazy. People, they're mad at everything and they don't even know why. Well, it's easy to understand why. Too much stress, too many crises, too much to worry about every day, too much to have to be concerned about, too much looking over your shoulder, too much distrust, too much lying and propaganda, too much greed, too much corruption, everybody out for themselves. Sounds kind of like the law of the jungle. We are from the jungle after all. So the world is not a fun place, and I'm glad that I'm not 20 years old now, and I feel sorry for the future unless something drastically changes, which seems less and less likely every day, I feel sorry for the future of our children and grandchildren. Hopefully they'll be smart enough and tough enough to take care of themselves. Wow. God, what a downer I am today. Sorry, guys. I'm just tired. Anyway, on Monday morning, I'll be funny again. Guaranteed. So what else happened? I got home from the, I'm kind of looking. Ellen says, I think a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists are off themselves. They're all friggin' off. Anybody who thinks they're qualified in this world to tell you what's wrong with you, just the arrogance of that means there's something wrong with them. I went to a psychiatrist to try to help me deal with my ex-wife. I needed professional help because I thought that maybe something I was doing wrong. And all this guy wanted to do was put me on medication. I said, I don't want medication. I know what the problem is. It's not a physiological problem with me. I need advice. I'm dealing with a lunatic. How do I not kill her or divorce her? He's not qualified. They weren't qualified to give me that level of advice. They don't know anything about that any more than I do. None of these people were half as smart as I was. The only thing they knew was medicate it, tranquilize it, numb it out, lobotomize it. That doesn't solve the problem. I'm looking for answers to solve the problem. So then I went to a psychologist. And the first question I asked this psychologist was, why are you here? He said, what's the problem? I said, I'm here because I want to honestly know if I'm doing something wrong. And there's something that I'm missing. Well, one session with this clown, I mean, he didn't even know how to ask the right questions, let alone understand whatever answers I might give. And I said to myself again, how come I'm smarter than all these people that I end up paying money to for their professional help? And that's when I stopped going to those people because I already knew what they were going to say before the words come out of their mouth. I read the same books that they read. Same thing with doctors. Doctor tells me something. Believe me, I've read the same things that they've read and some things they haven't read, which they should have read. It's terrible when the choices of places to go for help are even taken away from you because you know more than they do about a given subject. And I'm not arrogant in saying that. I put the time in and the research. And I can think and figure these things out. I just can't I can't even get a plumber to fix something right these days. You guys have that problem too? They want $1,000 to fix something. They come out and then they never fix it right. And I got to go after them and fix it. And I say, why didn't I just fix it myself in the first place? I know plumbing. I'm a general contractor. I know how to plumbing and electrical. I know how to do all that stuff. Why do I pay these people big bucks to do a job and they just don't know what they're doing? Finding good help these days is crazy. Everybody wants to get paid big bucks, but they don't want to be competent at what they're being paid for. And it's getting harder and harder. Sorry, guys. What time is it? Let's see here. It is 4:45. Well, I'll tell you what. How can I end this on a positive note? Oh, there. Charger Mopar says LOL, so something happened that's funny. Coming to join you, Elizabeth. Oh, Boyd says. You all remember Fred Sanford, don't you? Red Fox. Oh, man. Oh, dear, sorry. It's a no-win situation, Ellen says. No, it's okay. I'm not the only. You think I'm the only guy dealing with this kind of stuff? It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I always said, marriage is. Every once in a while, you see these old, happily married people. Well, at least they want you. They put on a happily married face. Childhood sweethearts, went to grade school together, got married, never been with another living human being except each other. Married for 55, married for 60 years. And you can see the love in their eyes. You see when they look at each other, they're still looking at the kids they were when they met. They don't recognize the fact that they both become old, fat, and not really attractive anymore. They're still that attracted to each other. I say to myself, wish I hadn't missed out on that in life. That's very rare. 50% of all marriages end in divorce. But the statistic that people don't talk about is of the ones that have to stay married because they have kids, because their financial lives are so intertwined that they can't afford to break up, that cheat on each other, have separate bedrooms, haven't slept with each other for 10 years, cohabitate in the same house for financial reasons or, again, for the kids, end up staying married for 30 years. That's another 90% of the 50% that don't get divorced. And that told me a long time ago, especially when I finally got divorced from the second one. Marriage is not a natural state for most human beings, and especially human beings like me that value autonomy and freedom. So I never found it. I dated like crazy when I got divorced. I, on one hand, felt lonely and felt like, how can I not have a wife or a partner or a girlfriend or something? How could I just be alone? The thought of that is just so foreign to me. I've always been married. I was married 15 years to my first wife, went right into the second wife. So 35, I was married for 35 years of my life. How can I be single now? And I started dating like crazy. I started internet dating and meeting. God, I think I personally myself supported a couple of Starbucks just by meeting women there for coffee. The disappointments, I could do a stand-up routine about internet dating and the disappointments and the lying and the 20-year-old photographs. But I still did it. I did it for years. I did it for like 6 or 7 years. I must have met 150, maybe even 200 different women for coffee. I had short relationships with some of them. But it always turned out the same. And I always bolted from it. I sorry, same working, bye. And I didn't want to hurt anybody, but it started to take on even small resemblances to what I had just gotten away from, what I finally escaped from after 20 years. I used to tell these women, I used to say, you want to get rid of me in a hurry? You don't even have to hurt my feelings. You don't have to hurt my feelings. You don't have to feel bad about it. I don't want you to be with me if you're not happy and you don't want to be with me. You don't have to worry about hurting me. You won't hurt me. I might be unhappy about it, but you won't hurt me. But if you really want to get rid of me, here's three things you can say, guaranteed, before these words are finished coming out of your mouth. Poof. You'll be looking around going, where the hell did he go? Because that's what'll happen. I'll disappear, never to be seen again by you. And those three things that you can say if you ever get tired of me. I used to say to them, and I meant this. You can say, the trouble with you is, that one did it every time. The trouble with you is, Mitch, the hell did he go? The second one was, what you don't understand is, that's another one, same thing. Trouble with you is, what you don't understand is, and the biggest one of all, What you need to learn is, because the minute one human being says to another, tells you, the trouble with you is this, what you don't understand is this, and what you need to learn is this, I don't care who that is, run like hell. You do not want to be involved with a human being that cares so little and has such little respect for you. And boy, I learned that lesson the hard way. And I used to tell these women that. I told them as a joke when I first met them, trying to be funny, you know, and they all laughed at that. But they inevitably did it anyway, even though I forewarned them. And I said, well, you know, I'm giving them an out, making it easy on them if they want to get rid of me. But it ended up I was always the one that left. And finally, I just said, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to have to please anybody anymore. It's impossible. I don't want to be criticized anymore. And what did I do? I come on YouTube and say, criticize me, hurt me. Am I a masochist? I don't know. We all do crazy things. But if we're realists, the crazy things that we do have an upside to them. Because who would do anything if there was no upside to it? So obviously there's an upside in this for me, or I wouldn't be doing it. And there is. There's a huge upside. And I'm still learning how to deal with the small, minor downside of assaults on my integrity and honesty. And I'm dealing with it. And I deal with it sometimes by being harsh, by just not putting my foot down, just not putting up with that crap. Go away. How many times have you heard me tell people, if you don't like it, just go away. Unsubscribe and go away. Do not watch my videos. Forget I live. I don't want you in my life. I mean, I don't hesitate to tell people that, and I really mean it. I won't chase you. Believe me. I want to chase you away. And there are just so many people out there that are just so mean and obnoxious and miserable and hurtful that you don't want to fight them. You don't want to prove that you're right. You don't want to debate them. You don't want to do anything except get rid of them. I'd probably have more subscribers if I didn't have that attitude, but I found that's how I handle it. That enables me to deal with them in a way I wish I could have dealt with those people I was stuck with in my life, that I couldn't just vanish like that. Go away. Be gone. So I do it now. That was a cathartic little speech I gave today. It was a little unburdening, a little embarrassing, sad. Brought back emotions that I'd rather not have brought back, memories that never go away, actually. But if it makes you maybe understand me a little better and why I react the way I do to some of these things, then it's a good thing. It's a good thing then. So I'm glad I did it. So the stream was working fine after we got over that hump, and that's the same thing that happened the past couple of times. It started off with all of those problems and all that drag on it, and then gradually resolved itself. So I have some troubleshooting steps I think I'm going to do over the next few days. I don't have another live stream until Tuesday, and I hope to do some testing and troubleshooting to try to isolate down to exactly where the bottleneck is that's killing my upload bandwidth when I first start a live stream. It's crazy. And it's more than coincidence that it happened today for the third time. Pardon me. So I don't expect you to have to figure it out for me. I'll figure it out. Or I'll figure out some other way to do these live streams. But I've been doing this, the way I'm doing it now, I've been doing it since 2018 when I was a drone channel. Always worked before. Never took more than 3 or 4 seconds for that stream to get started after I pushed the button. The other night, it was 3 minutes waiting, and it still hadn't shown up on my browser yet. Today, it was dragging well into the start of the stream. So anyway, next time, if the thing starts 10 minutes early, you'll understand why. I give myself an extra 5 minutes to figure it out if something goes wrong, and you guys can sit and chat with each other, or go away and come back when I'm going to start. There'll be a countdown timer on it. I'm going to try to catch up for, I don't say 2 nights of missed sleep, but 2 nights of unroutine sleep. On Thursday night, knowing I had to leave early Friday morning, I kept waking up all night long. That always happens to me when I know I got to get up earlier than normal to go somewhere. I was so tired from yesterday. I physically went nuts yesterday. I mean, I just, maybe 15,000 steps. Go, 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 go. No food all day, which is okay. But with the driving and all that other stuff, and dealing with the hotel and dealing with everything else, and I was worn out when I got home last night. Ate too much, which wasn't good, and didn't sleep well last night either. So either I'm in great shape and got a lot of stamina, or I'm 3 seconds away from a hard crash here. One way or the other, I'll survive, get back into my routine. It's what happens when you get used to a routine. Anything that disrupts it really disrupts it. And think about what kind of video I want to put out tomorrow. I'm going to put out a video tomorrow. Oh, Mark Davis says, okay, Mitch, I'm pissed. Where is my doggy bowl? Said Fish. Thank you, Mark. Oh, Mark, I appreciate it. Here, let me see if I can find it here, and I'll share that with everybody else. Don't be pissed, Mark. Wow, look at all the, I'm scrolling down in there it is, Mark. Mark with a little super chat. Thank you so much. Where's my doggy bowl? Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. And I'm going to call it for today. It's coming up on 2 hours, and even with all the reminiscing and all the painful memories, I still enjoy it. I always enjoy seeing you guys. And if you'd asked more questions today, I would have answered them. But obviously, you enjoyed hearing about my trials and tribulations in life more, which is okay too. That's what stories are. That's what movies are made of. Stories like that. And nothing else. I got stories. Rosie said, I'm sorry you had to go through that tragic life with the woman you loved. Yeah, shit happens. And I understand that now. And even still today, when somebody says, would you trade it? I probably would have done the same thing again. And overall, I had a great life. I did everything anybody ever wanted to do. I had everything anybody ever wanted to have. I learned that shit is, most of that shit that we want doesn't give us what we thought it was going to give us anyway. Especially the material stuff. It's just life. And if you ever develop any skills in life, the one skill that I've had that has served me the most is not to spend the rest of my life seeking revenge for bad things that happened to me. It's like throwing good money after bad. The ability that I have to put the past behind me, to say, that happened. Nothing I can do about it, so what am I going to do tomorrow? And that's one ability I've always had. So I've only filed 1 or 2 lawsuits in my life, and they were business related. They weren't revenge type things. I just would rather forget it and move on. Try to stay positive. Try to, figure out a way to make tomorrow happier. Because that's really what life's about, isn't it? Don't we just want to be happy and content in the future? Because we certainly can't change what happened in the past. And I'm thankful that I have that. I have that ability. Which is why after 20 years, I don't even know where, I know the street number, but I don't even know where my ex lives. I don't know what her house looks like. I don't want to know. I've never had anybody try to spy on her or figure out. As far as I know, she might be married to some multimillionaire right now and still taking my alimony. Most guys would want to know that. I don't care. Don't want to know. Don't want to know. Take this money and just stay in my past, please. That's what I do. And that's why I'm here today. And that's why I'm a carnivore. And that's why I talk about these things. So I am going to take the rest of the day off. My friends, I'm going to get us a little traveling music going on here. There we go. I'm going to have my second meal of the day. I might spend a little time trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this live streaming setup. And I'm going to go to bed early. For you, you know what you need to do. Take the rest of the day off. I'll see you all on Tuesday night. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. We had, I think, the biggest crowd I've had in a live stream for a long time today. You stuck there with me, so I must have been doing something right. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, everybody. You know I love you all. Well, I love most of you. Some of you I just like a little. Kidding. I'm kidding. Take the rest of the day off and eat meat.